So, hey, Lorraine, how are you? We are
Uh,
back with another episode. Yay, I'm so excited.
I love your energy. It's just so real and genuine. And I get so excited doing this with you because you're so fun. And
Oh,
here we are with my partner, Nikila, back again to talk about everything waxing. We have a fun, I think, interesting show today, something a little different.
we do have a guest today. Sharicka is coming on
Good
today.
girl.
But real quick, Lorraine, do you remember the first time we met?
We were at the Skin Games.
Yep, we were
We
at
were
the
at the Skin Games. I don't remember exactly when we met, but we were together. We were like together the whole weekend, I feel like.
Yep.
And we were talking to students. We were talking about different experiences, I think just kind of navigating through the whole experience of the Skin Games.
Yep.
But do you remember that one student that we met?
We we met a few.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. I do.
She was scary that she was graduating, and that was her lack of ability of waxing. It floored me. She just couldn't wax, and she really had no idea what she was doing. And this was going to be a very soon graduate.
Yes, that was actually, I think that was at this year's Skin Game. I think we met at the Skin Games the year before.
You are
But
right.
this year's Skin Games, it was very scary that students that were graduating like within a couple of days did
Yes.
not even know how to spread wax. She spread it on my arms, and I remember the look that me and you both gave was like,
I was like,
uh
are you frosting a cake on her arm? What are you doing? I don't even think I could hold my tongue. It was so awful. And to the fact that she was going to go out into the world and potentially put that down on somebody's body. I don't understand. Is it they're afraid? Is it the lack of education? And I think this is going to open up the door to our next part of our next conversation.
yes.
Um,
I
and
think I think a lot of it is lack of education. I can't remember. I was talking to someone recently, and they were saying they didn't do any waxing in school. And so then you get out here and you want to become a
yeah,
waxer because you hear of the money
correct.
but it's
And
no.
it's part of being an esthetician, right? So you think you have to get into this box and you have to get out here and you have to wax.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not there. From being a student, obviously I was a student, they showed you just the bare minimum. They showed me how to do a basic bikini line, a basic this and a basic that. And then coming from me, myself being an educator and working in a school, they did not put emphasis on the importance of what it was to teach your students Brazilian waxing and teach them with a strip wax, teach them with a hard wax, and what it meant for them to be proficient in that, to go out into the world to do everything that encompasses being an esthetician does, right? As waxing.
Mm-hmm.
They do not do the students justice.
No, they don't. And one of the things that I was speaking, I remember who I was speaking to. I was speaking to someone that was a student that went to the same school that I went to. And her complaint was because she was going for the full program, every time a wax would come in, they would give it to the aesthetic students. They wouldn't allow the beauticians to do the waxing. So once they graduate, they never wax the person, but now they want to do waxing as their profession,
Right.
and don't have a clue of how to do it. So we have to make sure that, they're going to a school that's going to allow them to learn waxing, if that's what,
Yeah, the chance to really feel different wax, to be proficient in different wax, to get as many bodies as they can. I remember when I was an educator, Brazilian waxes were towards the end of the program. They didn't put too much emphasis on it, and I turned that around. And when I was teaching, right from the get-go, they had to grow in, and we had to wax through the whole course of their education, their time with me. And they had to have at least do 8 or 10 or 12. It wasn't like 2 and 4, because you're just not going to know. Too many things come up as you learn to wax. So too many different scenarios that if you don't really try to bring all that in school where you can control that environment for these students, it just gets lost. And then like we look at students like we saw at the skin games,
Yeah.
because that was scary and terrible.
It was very scary.
She was pretty confident in her strip too. She thought she was doing it right. And that's what just made me, I couldn't believe it. I think, yeah, the look you went to and that we gave her, like, what is that?
But yes, and the good thing though, we talked about her, but we talked about her while she was there, and
that's right. We corrected her. We did. We gave her. We did. We gave her some very, I think, important pointers. Some just from our professional opinion from doing it for years, how to help her. So yes, we were talking about it. No,
and we girl, you know we was talking about her, but we talked about her while she was there, and that's okay. And the good thing about it, when she came to, to our table, we have the waxes out there. So we let her try the different waxes. So that's one of the good things of coming to visit our table when you come to the skin games, is you can play with the waxes and see how pliable they are, how good you can spread them. So she did do a much better job after we showed her technique. So that's the thing. They must not even be showing technique, because we were with her for 5 minutes and she got it like that,
Exactly. We just showed her a couple little tips and tricks from people who are doing it for a long time, who have mastered different waxing, and be able to just say, hey, look, I can look at this and just show you just like this and just like that. And I think she even felt a little bit better. And that was really great. Yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah.
I feel like this might be a great time to introduce our guest speaker today for a few minutes.
Well, there she is. Hello,
Sharicka.
Hi there.
So much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is really exciting.
Yeah, it's fun, right? It's
glad to have you.
It's something different out there that we're going to talk about that I don't think enough people do. But tell us, before we get into the nitty gritty of it, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how you found yourself in this industry.
Yeah, so my name is Sharicka Washington. I'm a licensed esthetician, a licensed aesthetics instructor, and my journey actually began here at Institute of Skin Science. So I fell in love with the world of aesthetics. I loved the idea of having a job where I could truly help people and make a difference in somebody's life, spread joy, make them look good, feel good, all that, all the warm fuzzies. And I'm also a creative person. So I was looking for a career where I could not only use that creativity, but also have a sense of professionalism, a sense of expertise, and having science backing my day-to-day. So that's kind of what got me into aesthetics. And for, I guess, probably the past decade or so, my career has really been focused on education. So I do own the Institute of Skin Science now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Like I mentioned, that's where I started my aesthetics journey. So I'm a graduate of the program myself. But after working in the industry for a few years, I found myself getting really passionate about a lot of technicalities that were just too overwhelming for clients. But I knew that I had an audience somewhere. I just didn't really realize that I would end up teaching one day. So I kind of organically fell into the education realm. I started teaching here. And I had no idea that this is where the stepping stones would land me, but one thing led to another, and here I am. So for the past 9 years, I've been running the school. We're a small boutique style school, so private classes. My focus has really been on not only maintaining the fundamentals that we started with, as the first aesthetic school in New Hampshire, the only private school. There's a lot to uphold, but so our main focus is the 600-hour aesthetics course. And since taking over, continuing education has been a big thing that I've been trying to offer for our students, for our graduates, and other licensed individuals that feel like they just need to level up. I feel like there's always something to learn. So that's a little bit about me and how I got here.
Well, thank you. And I can speak firsthand. Your facility is absolutely beautiful. I was
Thank
I
you.
was very impressed. It's beautiful, and it's very warm, very welcoming, and it was lovely. So everyone could go check that out.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Absolutely. And I think we share your passion for education and educating estheticians, and just making sure that everybody is leaving school with that confident feeling that they can go out into the world. And as you said, helping to make someone's life better, and just having a great experience when they come to see you as the professional. And it all starts at school.
Absolutely.
Which is great.
Yeah. And you have wonderful skin.
Thank you. Thank you. We just did chemical peels last week. So
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Thank you.
As a a director and on hands teacher and everything, we're talking about waxing. What would you say is one of the biggest challenges as an instructor that you face with incoming students and or for advanced students with your waxing program?
Well, I think for the new students, a lot of people are intimidated by the world of waxing. They're scared. They don't want to hurt somebody. They don't want to mess up. I mean, we've all heard some, horror stories for sure.
Absolutely.
So I think being the person that's, in charge of the service kind of intimidates some students. So that's, I'd say, a challenge, that just getting people open to the idea of being comfortable with the wax. But I will say that is probably the number one service where I have students going into it a little bit nervous and then coming out saying that they absolutely love it. They feel more confident. So we definitely do a lot of waxing here. And I find that for continuing education, I would say that a lot of professionals do come into my programs, kind of like what you were saying earlier about that they're just not really getting the fundamentals, I guess. Or some people do have the fundamentals, but it's their speed. They're very, taking their time, which is good to take your time, but
No, money. Let's just face it. When you're acting too slow, it hurts. It's time is money. We gotta like rock and roll. Come on.
Yeah, it's not like the luxury, fluffy.
No,
we can
absolutely not.
still give them a nice experience without taking an hour and a half. So.
Right. No one needs that. But how do you feel like do they get to become more comfortable?
I think actually taking the time to understand how wax works, how hair works in itself, each separately, and then having them come together. Sometimes it's a technique. Other times it's really just understanding what you're doing in a way that you can talk to clients about, the service. And
the science behind it. So they actually understand that.
I think, like knowing the why behind the how, I guess. And once that is covered, I feel like the light bulb just kind of goes on.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, in your teachings, how long do you guys spend for waxing?
I'd say we spend a decent amount of time. Within the first few weeks, we start to get them, comfortable with the wax. We do use both hard and soft here because I feel like everybody likes something different. And when they graduate, you never know what you're going to be faced with. So we get them comfortable with it first. But we do a fair amount. We do everything from brows to Brazilians, everything in between. And I think maybe that's why some of the newer students towards the end are more confident, just because the actual experience in the clinic with the waxing is, shows them that they can do it.
Yeah, that's good because and that's good that you teach both, because when I was in school, we only were taught with strip.
Okay, yeah. It makes a difference.
And that's funny because we only really were taught with hard and spent like this much time on a strip wax.
Wow.
So I walked out going, I guess I got to teach myself. And here I am in a room working for a company that had primarily strip wax, and I had to figure it out myself, a new grad. And so it can be scary.
Yeah. I'd say that, I'd say that's another thing I feel like I get with people who are already licensed. Maybe they're in the field for a while. Sometimes it's just finding a new formula that works better for them.
Okay. And so do you offer any advanced classes for students to get more hands-on experience?
Yes, we do. We've been adding some more waxing classes as of recently, actually. So 2025, you're going to be seeing a lot more of them. And they vary between, again, people that don't really know how to wax at all. We start, from the basics, but then for people that are already waxing, they just want to tighten up their skills. We have speed waxing too.
Do you offer virtual classes?
Not yet. Not yet, but we are working on them. So hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Yeah, so you can visit our website. It's www.instituteofskinscience.com. We are located in Stratham, New Hampshire. It's like southern seacoast area. We're about an hour north of Boston, I'd say.
Perfect. Now we're going to react to some waxing videos. Take it away.
Now that looked like a disposable
Yeah,
So
like a Q-tip or something.
Yes,
like a makeup applicator.
Do you guys use that, or do you guys use the wooden applicators?
Wooden applicators.
Yeah, I use the wooden. I was going to ask if you had used those before.
I feel like they went a little too low on
the top right there.
On the top, yeah, into the brow. I mean, you're really getting into almost making like that could create almost like a divot into the top of the brow when I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you girls think?
Yeah, I see it.
I see it too, but I mean, she did good. I'm looking at that stick, like.
Yeah, I don't like the stick.
I mean,
and I really, well, I mean, I don't draw a pencil with a pencil. I maybe that comes with time, but I don't use a pencil.
I've seen people use that applicator before, and they seem to do, maybe have a little bit more control over it.
Maybe. I guess it's always worth a try. I mean, I'm open to anything. I have a question. Now, do you guys not tweeze? Do you guys always trim a brow?
If they need it, not always.
Not always.
It was no, neither do I, not always, but I was reading something and it said that when you're trimming a brow, it's going to change the texture of the hair, and you're going to opt to get more ones instead of it lying nice and flat. You're going to get the ones that are almost standing up straight, like little army soldiers, up here and up here, and that changes the texture, and you're not going to get that, say, brow comb over, if that's what you want to call it. I mean, and I do, again, trim if need be, but did you ever hear that how it could really change some of the texture from the body of the brow? I know how it can sometimes do it when you're here, but not so much here.
It might feel more blunt, like depending on the texture of the hair, but I try to trim at like an angle so you get the hair, giving it a taper. But
I agree. It was just something I had never really heard of before, so it was kind of interesting. That was awesome.
Yeah. So what about the laminations? What you guys think about that?
I'm not a huge fan.
I think they work for some people. I think they're an interesting trend. I feel like, I don't know, it's definitely not for everybody, but for the right person, I think they can look beautiful.
Yeah, they do look. I don't do them personally. It's just not anything I wanted to just get into at this point. But yeah, I don't love them for everybody. Everything has a spot, right? Everything has a place. It wasn't a look for me personally.
Yeah. So what do you guys use for brows? Strip wax or hard wax?
I'm a hard wax girl.
Hard wax for sure. What about you?
I use strip.
Yeah. Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah. You know what? But that's what makes this world go round. That there has to be something for everybody's hand.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. There are sometimes where you have that really fine hair and that really thin hair, and that strip wax is going to just get it just that smidge cleaner. Maybe there's a place for everything all the time. That's where I live. Yeah. And as a good waxer, both waxes, and that's kind of key. Yeah. That's key. Absolutely.
All right. We getting into another video?
Another one of those applicators.
No, it's just like another one.
I'm going to have to go try that.
Right?
I am too now. But look at her spread. She put it down and then spread it. That was different.
Great technique.
Yeah.
And the brows look flawless.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that one at all.
It looks like her brows are already filled in too. So
yeah.
Kind of a nice line already to follow.
Yeah.
And I like how she put the wax down and then bring it up to the line, not put it right on the line. And yeah, I like that.
She had good control of her wax. She's holding the seam taut, pressure after.
Yep.
Everything looks good to me.
Real good.
Great job is right. Yeah. Well, what do we got here?
Oh Lord, I see already. My skin is cringing. Where them gloves at, girl? Where them gloves at?
That's me. Those are my hands. I was at a show and she laid down real quick. No, I don't know. I'm like, all right. So that's a question. In your daily life, when you do a brow wax, do you wear gloves all the time?
Yes,
always.
I wear gloves all the time,
and I can't wax brows with gloves on. I cannot do it. Give me gloves for everything else. But back in 1994, we didn't wear gloves. I was taught it was a different world. And that many years ago, when we did facial waxing, body waxing, Brazilians and underarms, we did. But even leg waxing, they did not. And I do not do my brows with gloves on.
Okay. So everywhere has you can get that pinpoint bleeding. That's the only reason why I always wear gloves. So,
you can.
Yeah.
I completely understand I do. I get it. And I have seen that. And maybe if I needed to go like this or clean that up after, I'd stick a glove on or finger caught on. Totally well aware of that. But that is just not something in my day. Yeah. And I can tell you probably where I'm at. At least half the girls, when they do brows, probably don't wear gloves.
Oh, wow. Well, long as y'all ain't double dipping, y'all good.
No. Come on. No, not that. That's gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, clean sticks every time, clean brush, everything sanitized. But gloves were not in my repertoire.
I can't wax myself without gloves.
Oh, really?
I cannot wax myself without gloves. I have to have gloves on.
It's a nice habit to get into, but when I never started, I feel like I'm all thumbs when I have them on when working on the face. So just something different. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You said that's me.
Oh, this one's so bad.
Oh no.
Yeah. Again, that's her son. No gloves, I guess. But are you in your studio or are you at home? I don't know. I just
I'm with you on that.
She just goes after him.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I just love his face.
His face is hysterical.
But this is real life, guys.
Look at that. That is real life. Oh my God.
Too funny. So do you guys wax men?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know some people don't. Some people, I get phone calls because there's not a lot of places around here that will take men. And I think that's kind of odd. So I was just wondering,
a lot of back, a lot of chest, arms, brows, ears. Do you do the nose?
I do the nose.
I do the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the nose. Huge for that. I also have waxed intimate areas on a man as well, if need be. I don't get a huge calling for that, but done it, no problem. It's an area that needs to be waxed. Not a big deal. I mean, it's not ideal, but it is what it is. Tons. Done it all.
Yeah. So I get quite a few men wanting their intimate area waxed.
Will you do that as well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the phone call I was talking about. They'll call because there's other people. I'm sure they'll wax a man's leg or a man's back, but they won't do the intimate area. And I do.
Yeah. I think waxing a man back, neck, everything is great, but it's great. It's good business. It's great business there. It's easy. It's a great, easy wax, especially for newbies learning. I think it's a wide area. You can really kind of get your strips down well practicing. It's a nice, easy nice, easy service to get through.
Yeah.
I think so.
And Sharicka, real quick, you want to let our listeners know your Instagram handle or your Facebook handle or something? How
Oh,
can they follow you?
yeah, absolutely. So on Instagram, we are Institute of Skin Science. And then same with Facebook. It's just Facebook/Institute of Skin Science.
All right,
That's
great.
great. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today and telling
you.
us what you're doing, because it is so needed. So needed. So thank you so much.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. This
Thank
was a pleasure.
you.
We'll
Yeah.
definitely have you back.
Well, I think this would be a good time to let people know, like, if you are a licensed esthetician or if you're in school for esthetician and you would like to be a part of our podcast as a guest, you can email us at strippedpodcast@bombshellwax.com. We would love to have you on.
Well, my friend, I think we've had another successful podcast. Super interesting. I love listening to her and everything that she's doing. I think it's far from the industry too, because I think she shares our ideas about how much education and how important it really is to learn waxing right from the get-go, and to be able to know that there's a good school out there to offer that for students, which is great.
I agree.
Yeah, it's nice. It's definitely good. Well, you have a wonderful week, and we will hopefully reconvene in a week or so to hit on another topic. Hopefully we get lots of emails and people want us to talk about whatever it has to do with waxing.
Yes, I agree. Well, you have a good one.
You too. Bye, guys. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. You told me it was Shakira.
That's the best. That was hey, we human. We ain't starting over. We human.
I have to find my right seating. I'm like sitting on my foot. I look like a head. My daughter watched the podcast and she goes, "Mom, you got to move your head. You look ridiculous."